I'm writing a book calling Heart of the Storm about a middle-aged FEMA guy with a heart condition who finds himself stranded on a hurricane-ravaged island. Largely a comedy, dark comedy.
There's going to be a little prick. I said, whoa, 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 are you a surgeon or a mohel? What the hell? Does my wife need to sign a consent form before you cut anything down there?
I do comedy about heart attacks and hurricanes.
Yeah, you heard correctly. I had a little visit from the heart attack fairy, yeah. And didn't even leave me a quarter. Left me a $250,000 medical bill. Gave me another goddamn heart attack.
Once a lush island covered in rolling green hills and pristine beaches.
The book was largely inspired by the 2017 hurricane season. I was the lead FEMA guy for the island of St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which was hit dead on by a Category 5 catastrophic hurricane.
100% of the island still does not have power.
Wow.
So I'm writing it because I wanted to tell the story of the disaster responders that go to these big disasters that you see on TV and represent this big behemoth of a perceived bureaucracy that is FEMA, and just try to humanize those people to tell their tale.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
I was still recovering from open heart surgery, but I didn't want to be on the bench. And so I agreed to go down there through the response phase for fairly short term. But then we got hit by Hurricane Maria, and then everyone forgot about me, and I was just the sole FEMA guy on this small island that was all looking to me for answers. That was my response to my first heart attack, was to double down on FEMA. The downside was another heart attack.
Thank you. What a great crowd we got here, huh?
Shortly after I retired, I met a young woman in a bar who told her that I just retired and I was writing a book. And I said, what do you do? She said, I produce stand-up comedy events. I said, really? I was thinking of doing stand-up comedy to promote my book when I finish it. She goes, oh, really? That's great. I got a gig for you next week.
I actually went to a hospital, and they just said, this man's having a heart attack. Quick, remove his underpants immediately. Go on.
And I did well, and somebody at the show said, hey, I know someone at the comic strip who might be interested, so I did that. Comic strip said, hey, you did great. Can you come back every Thursday? So I did that.
Now you're asking, so is this guy really going to do a comedy set on a heart attack? Well, you're damn right I am. I just wrote a whole comedy book about a heart attack called Serious as a Heart Attack.
The comedy is absolutely cathartic for me. I think it's cathartic for most comedians. If you pay attention, most comedians are exercising their traumas on stage. They're using the audience like a therapy couch.
They probably took turns taking bites out of my heart, blood dripping down their jowls before they stuffed it in there, sewed me back up. But I survived, and
I think the book will have a lot of appeal for anybody who's been around a disaster, certainly for people who work in disasters, people who have survived disasters and recovered from disasters. What is it you want government to be? I've got characters in there that are contractors and volunteers and local emergency responders, federal emergency responders, and all the confusion that ensues with people just sort of trying to figure out what is the expectation on us? What is the expectation of the public? And the public's trying to figure that out now too. So I think taking a look from the perspective of a federal disaster responder speaks a lot to the problems America has now.